It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day, everybody, and welcome to the program. It is County-Wide, and I'm Brad Miller. We're happy to welcome into studios today from the Hozhoni Foundation, based in Flagstaff, with an arm in Prescott and now one in Cottonwood as well. Ron Tickey is here. Michelle Eisenberg is here. And we say, Michelle, first we'll say good morning to you. Thanks for coming down.
Good morning, everybody.
Braving the distractions on Cornville Road this morning to come and visit with us. But we're going to talk about something that's terrific and I know very near and dear to both of your hearts. And that is the Hozhoni. Am I saying that right? Let's get that right first.
That is correct.
The Hozhoni Foundation.
Yes.
And am I correct also that you're kind of based in Flagstaff and have been for decades and now are kind of making a little more of a move to kind of bring those services into the Verde Valley?
Yes. We actually are based out of Flagstaff. We've been there for 50 years. We also have a larger operation in Prescott, and we have now a small one opening here in Cottonwood, and it's specifically designed for job training.
Okay. With folks with developmental disabilities, is that?
That's correct. Yeah, mostly developmental disabilities, but we also offer services to people who may not have intellectual developmental disabilities, but may have other disabilities that prevent them from being able to find work on their own or maintain employment on their own without some assistance.
Okay. You were telling me before the show, like maybe a veteran with PTSD or anybody.
Yep. Or traumatic brain injury seems to be a common one that we get.
So issues that can be acquired.
Yes.
During one's lifetime from trauma or whatever the case may be.
Yes,
well,
sir.
That's outstanding. And the focus is to get people back to a point where they can perhaps work, support themselves, at least have the reward of being out and being able to kind of do something again, whereas that may have been taken.
That's right. And our main focus right now in Cottonwood is our Transition to Employment program, which is through the Division of Developmental Disabilities. That program actually teaches individuals how to communicate with supervisors, how to be safe in the community, how to manage their money, how to know what job is going to affect their benefits. It teaches them how to budget, teaches them how to make a grocery list, all the basics that you need to know in order to support yourself on your own in the community without having to have, somebody constantly assisting you.
Those things that so many of us take for granted, we learned somewhere, usually mom and dad, sometimes through school, whatever it may be, but folks who have already a difficult time for one reason or another, those are not going to come naturally, and those are not going to come from those same kinds of resources.
And the good thing about the program is it's kind of individualized too. So like you said, sometimes people learn those things at home, but sometimes when you have individuals with disabilities, they may not be on the same level as other people. So we can kind of tailor things to where we can help them learn those things that they may have either missed at home,
right,
or maybe they don't have a family. Some people honestly don't have family when they come
exactly.
to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now talk to me about this. If there are folks listening today and they are themselves or have a loved one, whomever might take advantage of what you offer, and let's talk especially about the Verde Valley. Mm-hmm. How do you find each other? How do you get in touch?
Yeah, so there's actually several ways, but I'll talk about, we do have a website, hozhoni.com. That's HOZHONI.com. I have a phone number also. That's 928-526-7944. Also, you can speak with if you are a person that identifies with disabilities, you should have what they call a support coordinator at the Division of Developmental Disabilities.
Okay.
They know how to reach out to us as well, so you could talk to them and they can direct you towards us.
And and say that part again, the Division of
Developmental Disabilities.
That's a state agency?
It's through the Department of Economic Security.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
so just
gotcha.
where you would go to, I know in Flagstaff they have an Arizona at Work program. I don't know if they have that here in Cottonwood. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Don't know.
Yeah.
One of our listeners will. Perhaps they'll alert us. But
Let us know.
Either way, whichever rope you got to climb to find out that agency, this is some important resource information.
Yes.
Talk to me about, clearly, I'm assuming then that you're partnered with various businesses in the community that can help find employment for folks that you're advocating for?
Yes, actually we are. In Flag, we're very established. We have a lot of different community partners. But in Cottonwood specifically right now, we're working with Spring Hill Suites. That's where we do some housekeeping services for them. But we also, in Flagstaff, we're in like janitorial type work. We do some clerical type work. Trying to think what else we would do. Let's see, we do groundskeeping. We do some light maintenance type things. So things like that.
What is the process for kind of matching individual? I don't know if you call the folks that you help clients, patients. What's the proper word?
We call them clients.
Clients. Okay. As you match clients with different things in the community, different places to go and work. What is that process like? May they have an idea, or maybe some past experience, or how do you kind of get those?
It's kind of a mix of all of those things. It depends on their interests. Those are the types of things that we assess during this transition to employment program, is like, what types of things are they interested in? What would they excel at? What are their abilities? Do they need accommodations to meet some of the job functions that they might want to do? Do they need education? We also do some post-secondary education training. So we have all those kinds of things available should somebody decide they want to, be in radio broadcasting.
Well, don't do that.
Don't take your job.
I can tell. Well, no, but just. Yeah, just kidding. Something else. But but it illustrates that you can kind of cast a wide net, it sounds like, and matching people individually is just part of the game. That's how it's going to always have to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, folks with disabilities are going to want to find something rewarding, whether it's financially or just personal, makes you feel better about what you're doing. That can be a wide range of things.
Yeah. And speaking of that, we are always looking for partners in the community to where we could place these individuals. So if anybody has any small tasks that they can think of that, somebody might want to be rewarded for doing, because it really does change their mentality and their outlook on life when they feel like they're contributing to society.
Oh, very much so. I want to, if I may, I want to introduce. We talked a longtime friends with the Yavapai Broadcasting is Rainbow Acres in Camp Verde, helping. They're kind of a working ranch, and folks live there, and that's different than how you do. But I do hear some similarities. And one of the things that someone there described to me one time is that finding tasks that are somewhat repetitive. And, that doesn't really change a lot from one day to another. And it sounds like some of what you're talking about, those fit pretty well too. But again, it'll be up to the individual client.
It depends on the individual client. I mean, some clients really can only thrive if they have something set that they can do over and over and over. But other clients, they might like to do different things, different days. It just depends on the actual client and their abilities. And those are assessments that we do during the transition to employment program.
Yeah. Okay. Well, terrific. All right. We need to take a short break, so we'll do that when we come back. Michelle Eisenberg is here. And Hozhoni Foundation, based in Flagstaff, been there since 70? Mm-hmm. So 50-something years, also in Prescott, and more recently in the Cottonwood Verde Valley. It's countywide, and we'll be back right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley. And your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Hi, this is Lewis Rice with Rice Accounting, Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, with a very sincere thank you for your continued business over the last 20 years. All of us at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service are very honored for the many community awards we've been given over the years. As always, we are open year-round, providing services for taxes, payroll, and bookkeeping. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona, can help you with all your tax and accounting needs. For our nearest location, call 800-234-1040.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
We welcome you back to the program. Again, it's Countywide. I'm Brad Miller, and our guest, Michelle Eisenberg, is here. The Hozhoni Foundation in Flagstaff, Prescott, and in the Cottonwood Verde Valley, helping folks with intellectual or developmental disabilities find a vocation, perhaps find a lifestyle that is going to get them into being productive and feeling a little bit better about themselves, putting some money in their pockets, and perhaps even living independently. It's so individual, it's hard to kind of talk about them when we say the clients, because everybody is going to have a little bit of a different story and different needs and different outcomes.
Exactly. And that's why our program works for those individuals. We're able to assess those types of things and then try to get them into something vocationally that will make them happy and fulfill their lives and whatever their goals are for their future.
How are you funded? How does that work?
So we are a nonprofit organization. So we are mostly funded through the state of Arizona.
Okay.
But we also do accept donations, absolutely, especially to help our little Cottonwood office grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, how you, because you do have some staff, clearly yourself and you know, and some others, and a lot of it obviously is going to go toward, I mean, is it transportation that you provide once folks do find a vocation somewhere, or how I'm trying to get a sense of how far it goes, hand holding your clients.
Right. We actually do, when it's work related, we do provide transportation to and from like the job sites and different things. The only, we do not currently provide transportation like to the Hozhoni building for like the transition to employment class.
Okay.
We don't provide that transportation,
makes
but
sense.
if they get a job like with group supported employment, what Ron here does, we have a Hozhoni van and they take them to and from work every day.
Okay.
So we can, and we do maintain that and take them. So we do have to pay for those things too.
Right. Well, that's what I'm trying to get a sense of. And so it always come with nonprofits. A lot of times it becomes those little things that we don't really kind of think about that can make or break a program.
Exactly.
And kind of determine its success. It's driven by so many different kinds of outside factors. Now, is there housing provided and things like that, or is it kind of what we might think of as like an outpatient service?
So for us currently in Cottonwood, it is basically like you're talking about kind of outpatient services. In Flagstaff and Prescott, we do offer housing. And we would like to get to that someday in Cottonwood, but that's growth. That's a growth goal down the road.
That's coming. Well, we're having a conversation today, so maybe it'll get that ball started. And again, we'd especially like to suggest to anybody, if you're an employer, if you have perhaps some resources, you can help out. Donations are clearly accepted and appreciated. That's
absolutely
with all of the nonprofits that we visit with here on Countywide. And we'll repeat those phone numbers and points of contact here before we kind of wrap up. How many folks, all told, are part of it? How many clients do you serve at present?
So
do you have a number?
In Flagstaff, just in the employment section, because we have other sections too, but in the employment section, I have about 50 clients there, and there's about 10 in Prescott as far as employment goes.
Okay.
And then there's how many? 3 in Cottonwood.
Okay. So growing. Do clients ever come to a point where they kind of, I don't know what the word would be, like graduate out of your assistance and work like on a more individual basis with an employer? Does that?
Absolutely.
And that's where you're kind of aiming at.
Yes, absolutely. And we do provide those services as well. So that would be
give me a for instance.
I was about to say, we have
Just
a service.
Give me an example of
There's a service called individual supported employment.
Okay.
So that means one client goes to a job with one staff, and the staff stays there with them. Maybe they only check in on them once a week. Maybe they check in on them twice a week. It depends on how much assistance the client feels that they need. So it's kind of up to the client how often they want the services there provided for them.
Okay.
And this does help them communicate with their supervisor. It helps them make sure that they have the accommodations necessary, because maybe they need help. Maybe they need help getting transportation to the job because they don't have that on their own. So that's where we come in. We say, hey, there's the CATS bus. Let's help you complete an application. There's other funding sources available out there that we would research and find and say, hey, here's an application. Let's fill it out together and get you the resources that you need to make you successful.
Okay. So there's here again a lot of little avenues, little boxes to be checked. Just depends on the personal needs of the client that you're kind of talking about.
Yeah.
It seems like there's going to be some very special people, business owners who want to become part of this program. How can it benefit them?
Well, that's simple. First of all, it's a partnership with a nonprofit. Secondly, we automatically throw your name on our website. So you get a little bit of free advertising. There's no charge for that.
Okay.
Also, it's about feeling good about helping people in the community, like helping them, better themselves. And that you're giving someone a shot that wouldn't get that opportunity without the business's help. They just wouldn't. They wouldn't get it on their own. Yeah. So building those partnerships is really important.
Okay. Do you have, we kind of chatted informally before we rolled the microphones here this morning. I have no problem if you want to mention any specific businesses by names that you've had successful partnerships with.
In Flagstaff, we have Little America Hotel. Right now I'm working on a company called Twilight Janitorial. They've been really supportive so far. So I don't know if they do any services down here in Cottonwood. I have to find out, but they have a lot of commercial cleaning businesses in Flagstaff.
Okay.
And so that's just a few.
Yeah. I've just tried to plant some ideas for some folks who may have local businesses and have not thought about, reaching out. Don't know that Hozhoni does what it does. It's done so long in Flagstaff and a little bit newer in the Cottonwood Verde Valley. Is there a typical, I know there's not, but when someone comes to you, when a client comes to you and you kind of get things started, just like any of us, there may be a job that they're assigned to that doesn't work out. Can you find something else? What kind of happens? I guess I'm asking if folks can wash out of the program for one reason or another.
They potentially could. I mean, they could actually decide they want to go to school. Sometimes that happens. Okay. So then they would kind of go a different route. They could still be in our program. It would just be through different services, different funneling. But so they could do that. They could decide that working's not for them at all. They could decide, hey, that's just not my thing. I don't really want to do it, or whatever, and that's fine. They have all the options that they would like to have. But if they want to work, we can definitely help them find something. If that's not for them, then we will find something else that is more suited for them. Okay.
Is there a typical length of time once a client comes to you, you identify their needs and all of that they're, here again, graduate, if that's the word, from the program and are kind of more self-sufficient, self-sustaining?
Yeah. So what it is that like the transition to employment program, that's a year-long program.
Gotcha.
They can be in that for up to a year. At the end of the year, they do graduate in effect, but if they need longer time, that's certainly something that can be discussed and agreed upon as well. But typically it's a year. After that year, they go into what we call our group supported employment. That is where there's a group of them. There's more than one individual, more than one client. They're out in the community. They have a staff with them that's with them the whole entire time they're out in the community. Okay. And that's to teach them, hey, this is how we communicate appropriately. This is how we talk to customers if we need to talk to customers. Right. This is, how we behave in the community. We don't do certain things, or we do these things and we do them well. And then from there, they go into the vocational rehab process. And that's where it's more individualized to exactly their specific needs and what they want to do in the community. And do they want to go to school? Do they want to continue on the career they're on? Sometimes these employers just hire the clients on from us, and that's fine.
Right.
And then we just provide the necessary support to get them up and running, make sure that they're successful in their position for about 90 days, and then they're kind of on their own unless they, something happens and they need to come back to us for some refreshers, then we can do that too.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And kind of the flip side of that same coin, how does it work? What can you do with employers? I know that sometimes folks with disabilities can have, like an autistic person, say, can sometimes have personal space issues.
Yes.
And not understand those things, or inappropriate laughter, or some of those kinds of things. Clearly, the employer is going to have some deep understanding. Other coworkers are going to have some understanding of that. Do you help with that type of training?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, actually. We do. We actually work with the employers to try to help them understand that these are individuals with special needs, and sometimes they need certain allowances. So like if somebody does have these outbursts, you're obviously not going to want to put them in a position where they're going to be having outbursts that are going to affect your business. I mean, that's just, we're not going to do that. So we would have them do something that, maybe something in the back that somebody else didn't want to do or something like that. And maybe they will excel at it. Maybe they really like it.
Right.
I know one example is I know a lot of them like to do shredding work. We have there's some business partners in Flagstaff that do some of that kind of stuff where they actually shred and they destroy computer hard drives and things like that so that stuff's not on there.
Okay.
So things like that. That, like we said, maybe are menial tasks, but they might actually excel at it, and they might actually enjoy doing that.
Right. It's funny. You look at the broad picture of what Hozhoni Foundation does, and it's help people, advocate for themselves. Really, ultimately, is what you're after, getting into that productive part of society business, but also that kind of personal enrichment of having something that you can do and are proud of, and make some money and do all of those kinds of things. But it's also extremely individualized. So every single client is going to be different. Every one of them that you've ever had and will ever have is their own individual person, just like the rest of us.
Which is very rewarding when you get to work with them and you see them succeed in something that they really, like doing or want to do. I'll give you, for instance, too, we have in the past, we've done some job shadowing at the Humane Society, both here in Cottonwood and Flagstaff. So maybe some people want to work with animals. I know that's been a passion of some people's. And so we would go after that. Right now in Flagstaff, I got one that wants to work at a bank. So we're going to start getting, job shadowing over at a bank, which is another way that businesses can actually help us out, is just by letting us come in and do some job shadowing.
Right.
Even at Subway, maybe they want to show us how to make a sandwich. I know that sounds, not very happy for us, but it might make them happy if they learn how to make a sandwich,
Yeah, you cannot predict. And that's kind of part of the challenge, but also kind of part of the thrill of matching folks into finding that ray of light out there. Fascinating stuff. We need to take a short break. When we come back, we'll wrap up. We will give you those phone numbers and different information so you can contact Michelle and her good team at the Hozhoni Foundation. It's Countywide, and we're back right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology, factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Hi, this is Lewis Rice with Rice Accounting, Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, with a very sincere thank you for your continued business over the last 20 years. All of us at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service are very honored for the many community awards we've been given over the years. As always, we are open year-round, providing services for taxes, payroll, and bookkeeping. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona, can help you with all your tax and accounting needs. For our nearest location, call 800-234-1040.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
We welcome you back to the program, Countywide. I'm Brad Miller, and our guest has been Michelle Eisenberg, Hozhoni Foundation, and based in Flagstaff, and now into Prescott for a while as well, and more recently working into Cottonwood, working with intellectual or developmentally disabled folks, finding them work, finding advocates in the community who are willing to help them out and get them into a more self-sufficient and just an improvement in the quality of life.
Absolutely.
People want to work, people want to be useful, people want to feel good about themselves, and that works. That's true for developmentally disabled folks as well as anybody else. So here as we wrap, give me again, if someone is listening, you do accept donations. There's funding through the state and things like that, but certainly some of those things we talked about with transportation and those little costs, donations can be very much appreciated.
Absolutely. And if you'd like to donate, feel free to give us a call or reach out on our website. And yeah, that would be great. We would love to hear from community partners.
The website is what?
Hozhoni.com.
spell it for me again.
HOZHONI.com.
It's a native word.
It is, and it means beautiful or balance. So
perfect.
Yeah, those are
just
awesome
like
things
that.
to live by.
Is there a preferred phone number, or is the website the best?
Phone number 928-526-7944, and then make sure you ask for me, Michelle Eisenberg.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Michelle, thank you so much, and we appreciate Ron Tickey for putting all of this together for us. I know we'll talk again about some of the things that are happening. Exciting times with the Hozhoni Foundation. It's countywide. We'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.